Hi, Maggie Holt here, physical therapist at UVM Medical Center and proud member of the Falls Free Vermont Coalition. I'm helping you with expert advice on the February warm-up. As a physical therapist, I have expertise in moving, and feet are an important part of moving. So I'm going to talk to you today about having happy feet, which involves putting them in happy shoes or good shoes. Why happy feet? Well, because when your feet are happy, you tend to be more physically active. And when you're more physically active, your health is better in a lot of ways. You're stronger, you're steadier, your mood tends to be better, you tend to sleep better. There are so many benefits to physical activity. So that's why I'm talking to you today about healthy feet and happy feet. So there's some apologies. I wanted to be sending you this video from a shoe store, so I had a partner to talk back and forth with, but the snowstorm got in the way of that recording. So here I am in my own home with a couple of examples from my closet and a couple of examples to show you on the internet. Anyhow, here we go. The first thing to remember, the major thing to remember about keeping your feet happy in good shoes is they have to fit. So that's a really basic point, but it's a harder thing to achieve than you might believe. One of the reasons that's hard to achieve is because over time, our feet change. I'm just going to ask you to back up for a second and realize what an amazing part of your body your feet are. Your feet work hard every day. They hold you up in a stable position for maybe hours at a time, and you have to be steady and vertical over those feet. But they also have to be very dynamic. They're like the pistons that push you forward every step you ever take. So they're remarkably hard-working parts of your body, and they're very dynamic. They have to do very different things. So over time, they do settle. They spread. The ligaments get a little bit loose and the bones spread apart, which creates a wider foot. So usually over time, your foot grows in width, not as much in length, but in the width of the foot. Across the ball of the foot tends to get wider. And sometimes that comes with some extra bonus features like bunions or hammer toes. So those changes happen over time. So that means that when you go to buy your shoe, you shouldn't assume that you're going to take the same size that you always took. And it also means that you might outgrow your shoes, just like you did when you were a kid, although for different reasons. So it's important to understand that fit can be complicated. And speaking about width of shoes, you might not realize that all shoes are not created alike. And this is where it would be really helpful to be in that shoe store, but I do have a good example of shoe width from my closet. So here are two shoes of identical size. I hope you can appreciate them. They're both size 10. But if I hold them up to each other, their length is pretty close to the same, pretty darn close, but their width is really different. You can appreciate that. The bottom shoe is a much wider shoe than the top shoe. You can see it peeking out from underneath. So not only are your feet changing as time goes by, but the shoes you put them in, one size 10 is not exactly like another size 10. So it really takes experience. Trying those shoes on and making sure they're a good shape for your foot is important. A lot of shoe stores have fit specialists working there, and they can help you understand the variety of brands that they carry. They can listen to you or about your specific needs for your feet. They can be a great sounding board when you're looking for shoes. So that's an important understanding. The differences in the shoes and the brands is an important thing about this. The shoe, because closure of the shoe is another important element of fit. We don't want to, we don't really recommend shoes that don't hold onto the heel. So in other words, we like you to have to wear a shoe that holds onto your foot entirely. If your heel is free, like in a slipper or a croc or a flip-flop with your heel free, that shoe wear is a trip hazard. So we're not big fans of free-heeled shoes. That means that the closure of the shoe is an important feature of the fit. And closure can be difficult. If it's hard for you to tie the shoe, you're looking for a different kind of closure. That's what I'm going to show you. Hopefully, if my screen sharing works out here, I think it's going to. Let's click around a little bit. Good. So you should be seeing my screen now. And I'm showing you at first some examples of elastic closures. So this particular shoe has elastic in place of traditional shoelaces, and it has a slide tire. So that shoe is going to be a lot easier to slip onto the foot and then fasten close to the foot than the traditional bow tie mechanism. Elastic can also be used in some other ways to create closure on your foot. Here's an example of an elastic closure shoe. And here's an example of a very fashionable Chelsea boot, which features elastic, in some cases, even the contrasting elastic. Those are very stylish. One more shoe, example of a man's shoe with a good elastic closure. So elastic can be a really viable, but still stylish way to close the shoe. Velcro is another way to close shoes, and Velcro does not always have to look like a preschooler's shoe. That's a lot of times, that's where our mind goes to, those kind of preschool style shoes. It was so easy to put the kid's foot into those Velcro shoes. I thought they were never going to learn how to tie shoes. But here's an example of a Velcro closed shoe that's kind of a Mary Jane style. You would never know that that has Velcro on it, but easy to close that way. Here's another example of a really stylish boot that even comes in cool colors. That's a Velcro closure boot. And one more example of a Velcro closure shoe is this kind of Mary Jane style shoe that has Velcro to close it. So there are a lot of different ways to close the shoe, and you don't have to sacrifice style for fashion. Zippers are another good way to close a shoe. And I mentioned those slide ties. There's lots of different ways. Next topic is heels. What about heels? Well, high heels really change your body mechanics. They really increase the work at the ankle to stabilize the leg. So we're not big fans of heels that are over an inch. Sorry if you're somebody that's been wearing heels all your life. That said, if you are that person who's been wearing heels all your life, you shouldn't expect yourself to go from a high heel down to a flat surface, a flat shoe, all in one step. There's a quality of a shoe that's called the drop of the shoe. And a zero drop shoe means that you're perfectly flat on the floor. It might look something like this shoe. A zero drop shoe is a really aggressive change from a high heel. So you talk to your foot specialist about the drop of the shoe, and you look for something that's got some millimeters in it, some like 8 to 12 millimeter drop. If you're that person that's trying to get out of a high heeled shoe and towards a flat. For stability's sake, we don't recommend anything more than an inch heel. I think I already said that. So the cushion or loft of the shoe is another feature to think about. And again, this shoe has very low amounts of cushion. My running shoe, this shoe, has more cushion in it. Cushion is helpful. It kind of is a shock absorber for your joints, so it can help some with joint pain. But be careful when you're deciding how much cushion to get in your shoe, because if you're a person with limited sensation, or everybody's got various amounts of sensation in their feet. But if you can't feel the ground because the cushion in this shoe is too thick, that's not good for your walking mechanics, for your stability. So try that shoe on and really notice if you can feel the ground underfoot. I love those stores where you can walk on a variety of different terrains and really kind of experiment to see if you can feel the difference in the terrain underfoot. Because that's an important feature to think about as well, the amount of cushion or in your shoe. So that's what I have for you today. I've given you some pointers on good shoes to make your feet happy. Like I said at the beginning, when your feet are happy, you have a better chance of staying active, and that makes the rest of your body and being happy. If you have questions, please feel free to write them in the comments section now. I'll answer them right away up until 11:30. After that, I'll type out an answer in a matter of days. Don't forget, the February warm-up is ongoing with live exercise classes on Mondays and Thursdays at 11. And tomorrow, Fridays, there'll be a trivia contest. So check out our website on a daily basis and let us know how send any questions you want. This is Maggie Holt, physical therapist and Falls Free Vermont Coalition member. Thanks for listening.